Bloodborne is an action RPG game that was released in 2015 by FromSoftware and continues to be one of my and many others' favorite video games. The unrelenting but ever rewarding difficulty of overcoming one of its many challenges, the tight and aggressive combat system having you moving in a blistering dance with your foes, the expertly designed levels that loop around on each other and converge to create the feeling that you are exploring a vast, discarded city. There's an endless list of reasons why Bloodborne is so special, so beloved, and simply just a masterclass in every facet of game design it calls upon. But I'm not here to talk about Bloodborne's gameplay, as brilliant as it is. I'm here to talk about the way Bloodborne feels, and how it slowly opens its entrancing arms the more you gaze into its depths. It's an atmosphere dripping with terror and yet calm, something that exudes a sense of composition before collapsing into the abyss. Bloodborne is bleak, somber, horrifying, confining, a tragic, lonely world without hope. And as you arrive in the city of Yharnam,
you need only unravel its mystery. Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
Bloodborne starts off fairly simply. You wake up in the clinic you were just in, and the night of the hunt begins. In classic Souls fashion, the game gives you a basic tutorial before sending you to obliteration, but don't worry, it's a scripted death, and you'll wake up in the Hunter's Dream hub area, receiving a gun and a trick weapon, which is one of the unique transforming weapons you'll use during your playthrough. Back in Yharnam, it's time to start being a hunter. Yharnam is a city in turmoil. A plague has gotten out and it's turning people into beasts. Central Yharnam is a welcoming first level, as far as that goes in Bloodborne. There are a lot of enemies on the main street, but they can be baited and separated as you adapt to the game's aggressive playstyle. The sun hasn't fully set, and you're met by various NPCs asking you for help or giving you information. There's an old man too sick to get out of bed. A little girl looking for her mother. A hunter preparing for what's to come. Even some of the hunters have started to turn into beasts themselves. So now it's your job as a new hunter to step up to the task and rid the streets of these foul beasts. And the power fantasy of werewolf hunting slowly sets in here. The friendly, retired hunter in the Hunter's Dream says it best when he welcomes you.
I am Gehrman, friend to you hunters. You're sure to be in a fine haze about now, but don't think too hard about all of this. Just go out and kill a few beasts. It's for your own good. You know, it's just what hunters do. You'll get used to it.
But, just like the trick weapons you wield, the world of Yharnam will also transform, opening up to you the horrors left in its wake. Remember the little girl that called out to you through the window for her mother? Well, her father is the first main story boss. The music box the little girl gives you can be played during Gascoigne's boss fight, momentarily reviving his humanity and despair. But before the fight is over, he too will embrace beasthood. And, as it turns out, in the same pile of corpses Gascoigne is hacking up.
My mum wears a red jeweled brooch. It's so big and beautiful. You won't miss it.
After defeating Gascoigne, you gain passage to the game's second main area, and home of the controlling power of Yharnam, the Healing Church. They are the home of blood ministration and have been distributing a substance called the Old Blood around the city to cure disease, including the blood vials you've been using the whole game. As you learn from the sick man in the window, the church has boarded themselves up in the cathedral ward, coming up with a plan to stop the scourge of beasts. But things aren't different in Cathedral Ward, and they might even be worse.
Master Willem, I've come to bid you farewell.
Oh, I know. You think now to betray me.
No, but you will never listen. I tell you, I will not forget our adage.
We are born of the blood, made men by the blood, undone by the blood. Our eyes are yet to open.
Fear the old blood. I must take my leave.
By the gods, fear it, Lawrence.
After you touch the skull, prompting the cutscene between Willem and Lawrence, the sun sets and the night truly begins. So, at this point, you've seen enough of Yharnam to know that it's pretty far gone. It seems like a good time to call it quits and abandon Yharnam to rot. But now you're tied to the Hunter's Dream and you're forced to delve even further into the city's mystery. And so, prompted by this cutscene, you might begin to wonder, where did the old blood really come from? As you keep playing, you might notice some things changing. Or are they changing? I don't remember seeing this thing here earlier. These guys seem a little different than before. And what exactly is this?
Oh, Lawrence, Master Willem, somebody help me. Unshackle me, please. Anybody. I've had enough of this dream. The night blocks all sight. Oh, somebody, please.
For a decent bit of the game up until this point, you might have been hearing whispers of a shunned, forsaken place by the name of Bergenworth University. The road there from Yharnam is lengthy and dangerous, and when you arrive, it's just a decrepit, old building. This is when things start to get really bizarre. Opening the balcony, there, Master Willem, from the earlier cutscene, sits, gazing over the moonlit lake. Finally, answers await, but Willem's mind has long left him, and all he can do is murmur and point to the lake before him. And now, the truth comes out. Bloodborne has a mechanic called Insight. It's hard to pinpoint what exactly it does on your first playthrough, but you'll gain it from corpses all around Yharnam, from witnessing bosses, and from eventually defeating them. The more you have, the more your character can comprehend the world around them, being able to witness new or changed enemies, and notably at 40 Insight, being able to see the invasion of celestial beings littered across the walls of Yharnam. They have always been there, even in your moments of simple werewolf hunting, watching you with that same cold disinterest with which they gaze upon you now. The lake holds the secrets of the church, and as it turns out, they are responsible for Yharnam's downfall. Deep in the ancient tunnels of a past civilization, long ago, Bergenworth scholars found the old blood, a special substance that was said to cure all ailments. Master Willem and his pupil Lawrence argued over the dangers of the blood, with Lawrence eventually leaving the school, taking the old blood and founding the Healing Church, which distributed it across the city. The blood is addictive, and as word spread about Yharnam and its healing powers, and more people migrated across the country to treat their sick. The old blood comes from godlike beings called Great Ones, and consuming the blood eventually causes users to go mad and turn into beasts. But no one knew this before it was too late. And with all this, the church still carried on with their research, hidden away in the city's highest towers. The being in the lake acts as a seal, and killing it brings forth another one of the Healing Church's biggest mistakes, which further blurs the line between man and beast. The church is split into 3 branches, one being the School of Mensis, whose job it was to research and attempt communion with a Great One. The Unseen Village was their testing ground, and after killing the results of their ritual, you gain access to the nightmare realm created when Mensis established communication with the invisible infant Great One, whose cries you've been hearing louder and louder the further you plunge into Yharnam's secrets. Eventually, you liberate the world from Murgo, the infant Great One, halting the Mensis ritual. You're no hero, though. The world is already too long gone, and while your actions will severely slow it from worsening, the ruins of Yharnam and its citizens have already been strewn across the cobbled streets. Leaving the Nightmare of Mensis, you return back to the hub, the game's sole true safe haven, only to see the hunter's dream caught aflame. Gehrman, the old hunter from earlier, awaits you, sitting solemnly in a field of flowers, with one final offer to make you. Gehrman gives you a choice. He can either take your life and spare you any more suffering at the hand of the Healing Church and the Hunter's Dream, or you can refuse his offer and fight to take his place. There's no anger, hatred, or fear in this encounter. You're not fighting for victory, but a twisted sort of mercy for the other participants, and there will be no feeling of triumph at the end of it all. Gehrman is a puppet, trapped in the Hunter's Dream, carrying out the will of yet another interfering Great One. And all that is between you and Gehrman in your somber final battle is everything Gehrman has repressed coming out. Agony, loneliness, longing. But how would something like that even sound? Come into this world as just a hunter, seeking out the thrill of the hunt. But by the end of your journey in Bloodborne's metamorphosis before your very eyes, you are shown a world so far gone that hope is just a distant memory. That's how Bloodborne makes you feel.
Sweet child of Kos, returned to the ocean. A bottomless curse, a bottomless sea, accepting of all that there is and can be.